ready to go, Randy.
Well, welcome to the Friday edition of Richardson Plano Networking. Today, our guest speaker is Elizabeth Mahusay. Did I say that right, Elizabeth?
Awesome.
All right. And she's going to talk about the secret mindsets that ensure success. So we, as business owners and entrepreneurs, what we focus on will determine the extent and speed of our success in business as well as in life. During today's inspiring session, the attendees will learn powerful mindsets that will keep them moving on their daily journey of impact. Elizabeth, I messed up the Elizabeth, Mahusay is a sales and leadership coach with Southwestern Consulting. She graduated with a chemistry degree and a master's degree in instructional technology. Elizabeth is an expert in thought transformation and believes that right thinking is the foundation for success. Throughout her career, she's trained thousands of people to overcome negative thinking while implementing proven systems that create a growth environment. She is also the author of 2 books and a passionate speaker. Please join today me and others in welcoming our guest speaker, Elizabeth Mahusay.
Great job, Randy. Welcome, everyone. It is my privilege to be here. I count every opportunity to speak an honor. And so I'm going to share my screen so that you have some visuals to go along with the things that I am sharing with you. Now, I am incredibly passionate about this idea of thought transformation. And there are many mindsets that really matter in success of business and in life. And so obviously in the time that we have, I'm not going to be able to give you an exhaustive list. What I chose to do was to really approach this from the standpoint of if you're a leader or a manager, and guess what? Even if you aren't leading multiple people, you still need to lead yourself well. And so I'm going to take it from that approach. And I pulled just a few mindsets that we can focus on, really something that I see regularly when I'm out in the business world, not only making presentations, but also in coaching those who are in the business world, both not only leading themselves, but also leading other people. So mindsets that matter. I want to start by saying that if we're going to embrace mindsets that matter, we need to really consider how we are thinking, because a mindset is based on a thought process. And so I want to encourage you that how you think matters, because based on how you think, you will develop beliefs that yield way into expectations, and those expectations produce attitudes in you. And out of those attitudes, you will act, or sometimes not act. And then your actions are what produce habits. And then those habits are where we then see results, or sometimes lack of results. And so your thinking truly does matter. And so from on that standpoint, we're going to talk about mindsets that matter today. So I want you to consider that we need to find your edge. What is your edge? Each of you are in a different season, a different situation. Your businesses are different. The needs that you have are different as well. And what we can all do to find our edge is to control the controllables. And what often happens in life and business is we get really focused on trying to control results, and we really miss out on what we actually can control. And so this idea of controlling the controllables is something that we really focus on in Southwestern. So just by way of, a brief so that you understand a little bit about my connection, because I could have gone with many companies from a coaching standpoint, but I chose to go with Southwestern because the goal is to elevate sales. You know what? I wholeheartedly love being able to say that I am a salesperson, that I am out there offering something of value that is a life-changing service to people. But our goal as a company is to elevate sales, both the practice and the perception of it. And so 160 plus years of selling, training, and experience is where Southwestern Coaching was born. And it is my privilege to be able to serve with over 150 rock star coaches in 8 different countries. And so I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to share with you today. Okay, so before I get directly into mindsets, I want to first just real briefly talk about some things that we can control. All of us can control. We're gonna draw a triangle. So if you're a note taker, I'm going to be giving you a triangle, and the one side of the triangle would be your skills. We all can control development of skill, and skills like, can we bring people to a decision? Are we able to answer objections? Do we have the skill of being able to really engage in a needs analysis so that we are then able to craft presenting our product or service in a way that someone would want to actually buy that? Those are all learnable skills. The bottom portion of the triangle would be sales motivation, or you might just say motivation, or you could even make it a shorter word and say will. Do you have the will to get up every day and do what others are unwilling to do? This is a make or break for most business owners. I was speaking with a client. I was doing a training workshop or a planning workshop with him, and he was talking about that people are, aren't doing what they've been, told to do, or that they've been given the resources to do. Even though he's providing, out of his own income and, from the company standpoint. And, I said that, ultimately there's a reason why we have entrepreneurs and we have people who work ultimately for entrepreneurs. A lot of that has to do with the will, but will is something that we can control. We can work on that. We can gain those things that would help us to stay motivated. Now, sometimes that's a moment by moment process, but ultimately all of us could use someone like, I can't see everybody's name, but the gutsy pivot gal, someone like her that is willing to help us in the area of will. The third aspect of the triangle would be your systems. We have a lot of people who come into coaching because of systems, because their life is out of control, not in the sense of they're making terrible choices that are maybe financially bad. It's more that there's a lack of time management or boundaries. They're spending an inordinate amount of time doing something that a system could be brought around it in order to save them time, to actually add more time into their schedule. So systems are an important aspect that is a controllable. And I do want to just state what may for some be the obvious and not for others. We can be incredibly skilled, but if we lack will, then we just have an unmotivated, skillful person who is not actually accomplishing what they need to accomplish. And we can actually have someone who is incredibly skilled, and they may even have the motivation, but without systems, there's a high burnout factor. There's a high quit factor because we need systems that allow us to be able to maintain long term. And so systems are incredibly important, because when we're dealing and controlling our skills, our will, and our systems, over time, we build habits. And habits are incredibly powerful, both positively and negatively. So your habits really matter. When someone, says, well, I've got the habit of doing, X, Y, or Z. So just today, I'm thinking about Victoria, who was saying that she has the habit of answering her phone at 5:30 in the morning or at 9:30 at night in order to serve clients. And she knows that she needs to stop that, but she's in the habit of doing it. In her mind, she's connected that if I don't do that, then I could potentially lose that business. And so that's a habit. So habits can be both positive and they can be negative. For her, she's finding it to be painfully negative at this point because her children are beginning to have to ask her to put her phone down, to engage them, to be present. And ultimately, that's where all of us, hopefully you would agree, could use some accountability in helping us in the development of our skill, our will, our systems, so that we can develop habits. Okay, I want to pause this just for a second because I think this is a fun little exercise. Someone unmute yourself, or you can put it into, I love that, habits are found in your zombie brain. Yes, like you've got to actually, it takes time. Okay, who would say is the most recognized number of days to build a habit? What is what we hear most often are the number of days necessary to build a habit? Anyone? You can
I
put
agree.
it.
She said 30.
30. Okay, yes, that is what we most often hear regarding actually the building of a habit. Well, from a brain research standpoint, and I spent a lot of time focusing and studying on the brain to understand what does it take to have transformation in the brain. Well, what they're now, maybe not even say now finding, but what many will say is that for, especially in the business world, it can take up to 260 days to develop a business habit because you're accessing multiple portions of the brain. Most of the time, it's more complex what you are focusing on. And so the goal being, you've got to stick with it long enough to actually develop a habit that you can really call a habit. And what I find is so often people give up too quickly. They give up too quickly. And I think part of it's because they've heard for so long, well, it's 21 days, it's 30 days to build a habit. And if they find that the habit hasn't stuck after 30 days, it's like, oh, well, then they start giving themselves passes. Well, I guess that's just not for me, or that's for them, but that's not something that I can actually do. So I want to encourage you that accountability really helps us to stick to our commitments and to build habits that will serve us well long term. So now, based on this idea of control the controllables, when you're controlling skill, will, and systems now, and we're building good habits, we can begin to build mindsets. And so I want to just talk about some mindsets of top leaders that we've seen throughout our time of coaching in a variety of industries and in a variety of countries. And I do want to say that these things aren't just specific to the US. We see these same mindsets are necessary for my colleagues that are coaching in Latvia and Australia and in Brazil. So these really span the globe in terms of what is needed from a mindset standpoint. Okay, so the first mindset is that I can be an excellent manager of my time. Okay, I'm stating it in the I, because ultimately it's not enough for me to say you should think that you can be an excellent manager of your time. You have to own that. So I have it listed here as a bullet point. I would encourage you that you own it with, I can be an excellent manager of my time. And I asked you to text me your biggest distraction in using your time most effectively, because what I find is that one of our biggest challenges in today's culture is that we have even more distractions than what we had back in the day. You know, whether it's the phone dinging, or the Apple Watch buzzing your wrist, or the email notification, or fill in the blank, the social media notifications. We have so many opportunities to be distracted. Thank you, by the way. I should have asked you, send me your name. I appreciate you actually sending me that too, that our mind does naturally wander. And to the extent that we are intentional and own that I am capable of excellently managing my time, makes a huge, huge difference in our ability to actually manage our time well. Oh, thank you. I appreciate you giving me your name. So that's an important aspect, being an excellent manager of time. So here's a question for you. How do you decide what you are going to do on a daily basis? How do you decide what you are going to do on a daily basis? So the question really is, how reactive are you? So a question, maybe a way for you to think about it is, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you are incredibly reactive, like I'm putting out fires all the time. And 10, you are incredibly proactive. You plan, whether it's at the end of Friday, or maybe it's on a Sunday afternoon, you know exactly what you're doing, when you're doing it, how long it's going to take you. And when Monday morning hits, you are executing the plan. That's a 10. 1, I kind of know what I'm doing, sort of, maybe, kind of, but I'm reacting all the time. Oh, I got that email. I better take care of that. Oh, I got that text message. I better take care of that. So where are you on this scale? Now, you don't have to necessarily list it or text me, but what I know from a brain standpoint is you should write it down. And the reason why I encourage people to write it down is you will not change what you are unwilling to acknowledge. I'm just going to say that one more time. You will not change what you are unwilling to acknowledge. And so it's important. Now, none of us are perfect. We're all human. To be a 10 every day is probably unlikely. But I do like to ask people, if you're not a 10 most days, what is that costing you? You'll notice I didn't say how much is it costing you. I mean, granted, it's probably costing us money if we're not a 10 most days. I mean, that may be the easy answer, but the what it's costing you takes me back to Victoria. It's costing her relationship with her children because she's reacting all the time. And as a result, she's got nothing left in her tank when she gets home. And it's costing her big time where her children are concerned. But there's also a cost of guilt for so many people. Guilty that I've not cared for my customers well, guilty that I'm not spending the time that I should spend with my family, or I'm having to hear them say, put your phone down, or you're always working, you're never unplugged. And so what is it costing you? And I thought it would be helpful. And for some of you, I'm sure this is not new information. But what I thought is, we've just gone through a year of pandemic and closures and life shifting seasons, that this might be an actual good review. So how do we determine how we spend our time? Important is on the y-axis for those of you who loved geometry, and urgent is on the x-axis. So how much it matters and how soon it matters. And we have these 4 quadrants. I can remember being younger than I am now and sitting in on a Stephen Covey training where he talked about these 4 quadrants. And we need to get back to really being able to assess how are we going to invest our time based on how much it matters and how soon it matters. Because if we're not careful, we will get stuck in this number 4, not urgent and not important, and it will always be finding its way at the top. Almost always, because we have so many devices to connect us, it can be very difficult to avoid. So being able to use things like on your phone, are you aware that you can actually put your phone on do not disturb? Yeah, that's really a thing, where you won't get notification, it won't ring, it won't ding, you can actually focus. It's like a real thing. And so, I say that in kind of a jest, but to the extent that we're willing to really look at how much something matters and how soon it matters so that we can plan our schedule well is absolutely important. So again, I'm not going to spend all my time on this, but I just wanted us to review it because this is what I think most people are feeling like now. I mean, let me pull my hair out. I mean, and of course, I realize this is a female in this image, but it could very well be, a male as well. And you may have more or less hair to try to pull out, but so many of us are overrun with what is going on. Okay, now my colleague found this photo and I just think it's funny. I haven't heard anybody talk about, having a dog, but I just thought this was hilarious. This is how we want to feel. Yes. Centered, balanced, not stressed. We're managing things. And so it's important that we are considering it. So let me give you 2 principles that I want you to, anchor from this idea of I am able to be an excellent manager of my time mindset. Say that fast, really, five times. The first is you will never have an ideal week if you don't know what an ideal week looks like. Period. You will never have an ideal week if you do not know what it looks like. And the other principle is the amount of busy work that you have will always expand to fill the time that you allow for it. And so this idea of busy work expanding to fill the time you allow for it, what we have to keep telling ourselves is that if it's not important and it's not urgent, then it's okay to put that off. I'm not saying we totally ignore it, but we plan when we address it. That's the important. See, if anything were possible, that would be your ideal week. That's what David's asking. I love it. So again, knowing what your ideal week, and I'm just going to show you one. This is one that from a client that put together, where they're building in their visits, their phone conversations, where they're eating lunch, when they have meetings. PC stands for personal conference. So that means they're meeting one-to-one with their employees. They have also got family events on there. They've got their drive time on there so that they can gauge how long it's going to take me, what that needs to occupy in my schedule. Again, it's being proactive so that we understand what an ideal week looks like so that we can actually experience it. And we can be more proactive and less reactive. You'll notice in the black with the white print, flex time. I highly encourage flex time in your ideal schedule because there are things that will come out of left field that they need to be addressed. And you may need to bump something down to a flex time so that it still actually gets done. So again, making sure that we're being proactive allows us to have a better life. And I love that. A whole life with intention. Yes. It's being intentional so that we know we have been, I think we're better able to live into and the potential that we have been given versus constantly feeling less than. When we're proactive, we don't have to worry about what everyone else says our time should be like because we've already planned intentionally what our time looks like. When we're intentional, we can say no confidently when we need to. So if you struggle as a yes person and you tend to overextend yourself, I want to challenge you, create an ideal schedule so that you are able to more confidently say, no, there's just no way that won't fit into my schedule for this week or whatever week that is. So knowing that we can be excellent managers of our time. The second mindset, that I am a student of my game, and you being able to own that. I am a student of my game, whatever that is, whatever your industry, you say, I'm willing to invest in my mind. The fact that you're on this meetup that has speakers every Friday, you're investing. You're already telling me that you're a student of the game because you're willing to be on to listen attentively. But we need to be students of our game, because Jim Rohn is right. Formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. And so it's important that we are being a student, that I firmly believe the moment you stop growing is the moment you start dying. And I saw this. So I'm pretty passionate about that principle as well, because I saw how it impacted my own father. I mean, of course, not his own choosing, based on an accident and the impact that had. But when I saw my dad get to the place where he had an inability to be able to grow, to learn, to engage, he began dying. What they said was a slow progressing dementia overtook him in a very short period of time. And so I want to challenge you, find ways to continue to be a student of your game, not only personally, also professionally. And then also I'm going to say growing collectively, like having groups of people to provide for community. I think that's an important aspect of growth as well. So that's an important mindset. It keeps us fresh. It keeps, by the way, in my brain research, they were actually doing studies of folks in their older years. Now I say older years, right? I'm not defining what old is. I'm just saying older years. That those who were engaging in brain learning skills and activities were healthier. Their brains were healthier than those who stopped on the learning process, where they became more sedentary and they were not as active. So it's just important for brain health as well. Keep your brain healthy by being a student of your game. Third mindset that I wanted to talk about: take action now. Take action now. We need to have a mindset of we are willing to take action now. David is going to run a marathon and he knows it's going to stretch him. He's going in with the right mindset. It's something I've never done before, but I'm willing to take a risk by taking action. And, I would love for you to see that this most expensive invisible cost of business that we call procrastination. Oh, and by the way, I have a whole topic on procrastination. There are 3 different primary kinds of procrastination. The one that I've chose for today, creative avoidance, because COVID gave us lots of opportunity to be at home, creatively avoiding. This is where I fill my time with mindless stuff that is not income producing. And, I set aside time to actually work on my business or to make those calls. And then it's like, oh, my water container needs water. Let me go down and get water. Oh, I just heard the mail truck come. Let me go out and get the mail. Oh, hi, neighbor. We talked for 30 minutes. It's been a great conversation, but really, I don't want to make calls. So this conversation is really helping me to avoid that. So thank you. I get back inside. Oh, I still have to fill up. Oh, the dryer just turned off. Anybody else not like wrinkled clothes? I better pull those clothes out, lay them out, but then I don't like them laying out. So I'll go ahead and fold them, put them away. Oh, it's lunchtime. I probably should go ahead and eat because, I can't make calls if I'm hungry because that would be a total distraction. Yeah. Can anybody relate? Hands up. Yeah. You totally understand the creative avoidance. Yes. So how do top leaders overcome their procrastination tendencies? Because we all have them. We all have them. That would be knowing their income producing activities. All right. So if you're engaging in business, then you need to know your income producing activities because that is the difference. It's a difference maker for people. So having those income producing activities built into your ideal schedule, you're much more likely to do it. I have a saying, and I'm sure it's not, who knows where it came from. I probably heard it somebody else say it, and I'm sure you've said it. What gets calendared is what gets done. And if it's not on the calendar, it's very unlikely to ever be done. So I want to encourage you that you understand what your income producing activities are and then get them on the ideal schedule so that you are more likely to actually work on accomplishing those aspects. Okay. So 3 mindsets that, and if we were to put them in first person, I can be an excellent manager of my time. I desire and am willing to be a student of my game. And then thirdly, I am a take action now person. On that take action and the procrastination, let me say this. And really, I could do this on all 3 of them. There's something that we like to refer to as Lodi disease, LODI. And I thought I had that screenshot in here, but apparently it's in my other PowerPoint. But the Lodi disease stands for law of diminishing intent. You know, I saw that David put in there living life intentionally. So guess what? We all wake up, probably most all of us, daily with the desire to be intentional. But the more time that goes by where we don't take action, we procrastinate, that intent diminishes. And then we wonder, we have this feeling of, oh man, I was so busy. And then we go, like, what did I actually get done today? I think I was supposed to make some calls, but I'm not really sure. I didn't ever write it down. And so this law of diminishing intent can really overtake us. I love that. 3, 2, 1, blast off. Yes. So it's important that we recognize we all can suffer from law of diminishing intent and that we choose to take action now on something. I would encourage you, when you get off this meetup, do something, take action on something for your business or your life, like as immediately as you possibly can, because something else that I want to say, whether it's your time, whether you're being a student of the game, or whether you're taking action, there is a difference between busy and productive. Would anybody agree with that? There is a difference between busy and productive. What we want to be are productive human beings. We want to be people who are engaged, who are present, who are being intentional. We want to be people who we desire to manage our time well, not so we can say, look how neat my planner is, but that we have been able to do more in the time that we have been gifted on this earth to make a difference in the lives of other people. That's why we choose. That's why we choose to be intentional, to take action. And so 3 mindsets that can make a difference in what we do. Now, Randy had asked me if I would share about my book. So I went and pulled, by the way, Randy, when you saw my picture pop up when I was in the blue, that's because I wanted to turn around and actually pull them from my my bookshelf. But the first book is called Transform My Thinking, God. And I talk about 6 mindsets that when we adopt, they all come out of the book of Philippians. You can see transformation in your thinking. So it's a 5-week study. There are 6 teaching videos that go along with that. And then my second one is mirror image. And that is based on the book of Colossians, and it has 7 teaching videos that go along with that as well. I'll have to throw into the chat my personal, my author speaker cultivator website. I didn't even think about putting that on the slide that's at the end here, but I do love writing. I love helping other people achieve that as well. But it is the reason why I wanted to bring it up is because I'm super passionate about you can change your thinking, because from a science standpoint, you've been given, your brain has the capability of changing. If someone can go through a stroke and lose the use of their right hand And through brain exercises, cognitive exercises, that they're able to rewire in around portions of their brain that died as a result of the stroke in order to regain use of a limb. I'm telling you, we can change the way that we think. Half of that starts with realizing or accepting or acknowledging that I can change my thinking, that it is a controllable, and then setting about to put into place those things that would help me to be able to do that. So I'm super passionate about this idea of transformational thought and the difference it can make personally, but also professionally. Okay, before my time is up, let me just share with you briefly about what we offer through Southwestern. I will make it brief, and then I want to give you an opportunity to be able to ask questions or make comments before our time is up. So Southwestern offers one-to-one coaching. That is one of my passions as well, being able to work with business folks and sales professionals. And the three core reasons why folks will partner with a coach and what we're able to bring to the table is that they desire to have their income increased. I mean, that's most of the time, that's part of what someone would want, but also a multiplication of time. I like to tell people that I specialize in habit transformation by helping people to multiply their time and multiply their income. That's one of my, my little 30-second commercials. And then, of course, the third is increasing in confidence, because so often it's a matter of just someone being able to tell you, you can do it, you can do it. And so that's an important aspect. Now, the way we do that is one-to-one coaching calls. We have supplemental materials that we pull in from our 160 years of training million plus sales professionals, videos, and then we actually are able to help track people's activity so that they can be more strategic in actually what they do. So that kind of gives you an edge or an idea of what we are bringing to the table. Now, rather than going into exactly what our coaching program looks like, I just want to give you an option for how I can best serve you going forward, because ultimately my approach is, man, if I can be of service to you, awesome. I want to do that. But I'm not a fit for everyone, and our program isn't a fit for everyone. So typically I find you're in one of three categories. One is you're thinking, okay, I think I could probably use some one-on-one coaching, and I would like to know more about that. And so you can text me that you want to hear more, and I will gladly tell you more. And I forgot to put my number in there, so I'm going to put it in chat. So you can text me your number. So one is, hey, I want to hear more. And let's say this, it could be you or someone that you know would want to know more about one-to-one coaching. Number two is you or someone that you know is a business owner, a sales manager. You have a team of people. Part of what I do is I offer complimentary workshops just like this that are customized to the needs of the team. And so you or someone that you know would be a great introduction for me to be able to serve them. And then, of course, the three is, Elizabeth, you're awesome. That's all. So you can text me. That was supposed to be, some of you could be laughing. I mean, okay, thank you. Thank you, Christina. I see that little bit of laugh going on there. Okay, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So those are ways that you are able to connect. Now, what I wanted to, let me just show you real quickly so that you can, that is so weird. Why it's not showing my end screen. So I have like a screen with my, my contact information, and it's not showing on my PowerPoint. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen and see if I can get that to pop up. And if not,
Elizabeth, I put your Elizabeth Mahusay, Mahusay.com. Anyway, whatever your name. I put your website there.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. There it is. I don't know why I wasn't showing it. So there's my contact information for, of course, that's my coaching information. But with that being said, let me just say this, that I am super passionate about being able to help people. And I'll tell you why. I think that everybody needs encouragement, no matter where they are in life, no matter how long they've been doing what they've been doing, which is why you're part of this group, right? Because just in my short conversation with David, I knew he's a strong encourager, someone who believes in that. And so that's my passion and my desire. And so just know that you honor me with your presence and the opportunity to be able to share more with you. And if I can be of service to you through what I do, I would greatly appreciate the opportunity. And then last thing, I'm going to throw in to the chat. This is a form that you can use that ultimately allows you to be able to help me make great connections. So this gives me feedback on the workshop. It also gives me the opportunity, or for you to give me introductions. Hey, a quick tip, if you're in business, did you know that referrals close 60 times faster than a cold call? Referrals, warm introductions close 60 times faster than a cold call, a cold knock, a cold anything. And so anytime I have folks who are willing to give me referrals, please know that I respect that. And it gives me the opportunity to make a difference in the lives of other people. Okay, with that, you have the opportunity to ask questions, make comments. I will now be quiet. Yes, Randy.
So this may just be a nit, but I'm a note taker. After you said know my income potential of my income producing activities,
Yes.
you listed 3 things. I can be a something, student something, and take action now.
Oh, I was repeating the mindsets, which is I can be an excellent manager of my time. I can be a student of the game, or I am a student of the game, because you want positive affirmations or leadership affirmations to be in first person, active, present. And then the third was that I take action.
Okay.
So that would be, and something you can't see it, but over here on my wall, I have, I keep up. This whole list here. These are my affirmations. I read them every day. I have one on my mirror. I have one in my office. It keeps my mind centered. It allows me to stay positively focused, to be on point with what I need to be doing, what my income producing activities are. I have a line that's all based on my income producing activities. So it just, because we forget, right? I mean, life is happening. So I read this every day to keep myself on point. So that's a great question. Anybody else with a question or a comment?
Thank you.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
if you have a question, just open your mic and I'll acknowledge you, and then you can ask your question. David Ramirez, go ahead.
Sorry, mine's like a 2-part question. Is there like a bare minimum qualification for somebody, and how long is the process?
For what, David? Sorry, clarify.
I mean, for the
Coaching?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I wasn't sure what we were talking about, so I wanted to make sure I was clear. That's a great question. There isn't a bare minimum qualification. It's really more, does it meet a need for the person? So what I do for someone who does not have a sales team, I do offer a complimentary, someone who's interested in coaching, business action plan. Think of it like a free hour of business coaching, because you want to know, would coaching be a good fit for me? And then I'm able to share all of the detail where that is concerned. So that's open for anyone. And then to your question of time frame, our time frame for coaching is 12 months. So it's a 12-month contract, and then you go month to month after that. Because how many days does it take to build a business habit? Who remembered? Who wrote that down?
260.
approximately 260. And so we've done a lot of research. We've tried a variety of program links. And what we find is that if someone truly is going to actually have change in their business, they need at least 12 months. We have people that have been coaching 7, 8 years because that constant accountability and outside perspective is so huge for them. Does that answer your question, David?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And by all means, you just let me know if you'd like to schedule a business action plan. I'd be more than happy to do that for you. Anybody else comment or question?
Yeah, again, go ahead and open your mic. We've got a minute or so that we can deal with one more question probably.
Okay.
Anybody? Anybody?
Bueller.
Bueller. Yeah, I like, oh man, one of my favorite movies. Okay, so we got a lot in common there.
I
All
know.
right.
That's a great movie.
All right. Okay, well, again, Elizabeth, thank you. That was amazing. Thank you. Everybody give Elizabeth a
Thank
virtual
you.
hand here. I know you're on mute, but she can see your hands
Yeah.
clapping. That was awesome. I appreciate you sharing with us. It was excellent, excellent material. I encourage everybody. By the way, just a quick tip, I posted it in the chat, but while we're still live here, anything like Elizabeth's website, any of the links that are posted, if you go ahead and click on those links now, it'll open up those browser places so that you don't have to, if you print off the roster or the chat after the meeting, it's you'll have the information, but any live links are executable during
Yeah.
while the Zoom is live. So just a kind of an expert tip if you really want to actually follow up. And I'll reiterate one thing that Elizabeth taught us again today, and we hear very frequently, is we've all heard a lot or some of this before. It's not important that you've heard it before. It's did you take action on it before? And so follow up is the key to success. Doing something with this, whether it's following up with Elizabeth to see if there's an opportunity for her to serve you or somebody else that you know, following up with actually joining our Facebook group, following up with something I'm going to ask you to do. Go to our YouTube channel and subscribe because we need 100 subscribers so we can properly brand that channel. There's no we have every one of these Friday talks that'll be up on that YouTube channel. So Elizabeth's talk will be up on that YouTube channel. Will be in our private Facebook group. So if you're not subscribed to those two, then my only assumption is that you don't really intend to follow up on this investment that you've made. And if you don't follow up with this investment of time that you just made, which is, by the way, your most valuable asset, then why are you here? And I know you're here for with intention, so I'm not chastising anybody. I'm just saying, take that next step
Yeah.
and act on one of the invitations that Elizabeth has given you, or that other people have. Also follow up with people that are here. We've got some new people here, some people that came here didn't care about us, but they cared about Elizabeth. So I'm just teasing, but but follow up with them, get to know them. They invested their time in us to get to know us, as well as hear what support Elizabeth, which I always admire, people who are here in support of other people. So I love that. So anyway, next Friday we have Mike Mosteller, who's going to be talking about meeting your new customer after the pandemic, and a lot has changed. I don't think that's lost on anybody here. So I had a great talk with him. He's going to be talking about business growth, has kind of a marketing focus, but really it is our new customer. If you think the customer you had prior to the pandemic or even during the pandemic is the same, I think you need to come to next Friday. So encourage you to do that. If you haven't been to our Wednesday group, we still have we can meet. You can meet in the room. This Friday meeting, is going to stay on Zoom. One of the things we learned going out in the pandemic and now out of the pandemic is this: we can get people like Elizabeth and people from all over the country that can serve us and share with us and have access to our network. So it's a powerful thing. And I've got Randy here to help me keep it going. So I appreciate that. Randy, did you have something?
Just Elizabeth posted, what is the YouTube channel name?
It's actually, that's the problem. Part of it is branding. It's David Roberts, but you have to search on my name because it's going to be branded for this. But I actually posted the link. One of the things is to the Facebook group. I can post the link directly to the YouTube channel, but in the Facebook group, had like we'll have Elizabeth's video and other videos that are on that channel. So if you go and watch those or just click on them, go click on them, like them, and then subscribe to the channel. If we get to 100, then it'll make it a whole lot easier to answer that question, because right now it's it's just the default YouTube channel. That's actually the problem I'm trying to solve. So
Just subscribe. You don't get any spam. Just help us get to 100 so that we
Right.
can syndicate.
Yeah, that way we can brand it. We can, it makes it easier to answer the question that Elizabeth so astutely asked there. So, but I will actually, well, I think about it. Anybody else have any other
I think
announcements? I'm very
Jennifer is
grateful.
fervently waiting.
Jennifer, go ahead, Jennifer.
I was gonna say, I just went to YouTube and I just searched for Richardson Plano, and it came up that way, and I subscribed just now.
Oh, did you? So it came up under, oh, wow. Well,
Yeah.
For YouTube?
Yep.
Really?
Wow. Well, you
That's a
just taught
change
me
because
something.
I tried that a while ago.
Richardson Plano networking, or because I'm in here right now.
Networkers.
Networkers.
Just $67.
Okay,
You
well,
can make
sorry.
as many.
Networkers.
If you need any help, just text David or myself.
Yeah, but here,
Got
did
it.
it
Yeah,
work? Wow.
it did come up.
Oh,
Okay,
good
I
to
just
know.
posted.
Thanks, Jen.
So I posted the link, so now you can see why it's hard for me when you ask me what the link is. It's youtube.com channel, blah blah blah, all that. So and I can't change that to create, like youtube.com/c/RP Networkers or whatever we want to call it. You can't do that till you have 100 subscribers by YouTube standards. So, I mean, I realize it sounds like a kind of a technical thing, but with 1,600 members in the group, I would think we could get to 100 subscribers pretty quickly. And it'll make it easier for us to answer that question. But I'm glad now I know that Richardson Plano Networkers will help us find it. So anyway, thank you again. It's 101. The meeting is
Gotta go.
formally over, but I'll leave it open for people to download the chat. If you want to interact a little bit, one of the things we found in this world of virtual relationship building and networking is the informal time, both before and after the meeting, is important. So I won't bail on you too quickly if anybody has any other questions. So, and again, thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you for everybody who's sharing your most valuable asset with us. And do you have a stand desk there, Elizabeth?
I do. Yeah.
Is it one of the ones that goes up and down like that, or?
Yes, I got it from Costco. I mean, for anybody, I don't know if they have them anymore, but yes, it has a pneumatic lever, and so I
Yes,
can pick it
I
up.
was just there the other day. Yes, they still have them.
Okay.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm going to get one of those because I'm spending too much time sitting on these Zooms now.
Me too. And I like, when I speak, I like to be able to stand. So
Yeah, I noticed that, and I love that, and that's
Yeah.
because I do a lot of these online Zoom
Yep.
talks and stuff, and that the energy is completely different when you're
That's
standing.
the way
versus
I feel as
sitting.
well. So I literally had to like abscond with this one and took it up there. It was like the display. I was like, I need this.
Good for you.
All right.